Hello to all you cake eaters and dolls. This is Chocolate Thunder here reporting live with WWDU from the poop deck of Mrs. Costalunga's ship. I bet that woke you all up. I'm just going to recap of some of the nifty events that happened this decade. In 1921, we had our first Miss America in Atlantic City, with the baby vamp Margaret Gorman winning at age 16. And trust me folks, I've seen her face, and I do not know how she won that. Then, in 1923, we found the tomb of a fella that goes by the name of King Tut. Unfortunately, some poor sap opens his coffin and was bumped off by the curse of the king himself. We also had the very first Oscars in 1927. Now listen up. We had a lot of advancement in movies from silent to sound and from sound to 3D movies. Now, for the weather.
Hey there all you dames and bimbos, this is Sunnyside Sam, and we're about to get a wiggle on the weather, and it's going to be nothing but ducky for us. We should be expecting nothing but sunshine and temperatures above 70 degrees this entire week. This means you should be glad rags during this great weather because it's like they say, nothing lasts forever. Now it's time for the farm report.
Hey, where's the butter?
It's underneath the table.
Oh wait, are you live?
Yeah, can you go bug somebody else?
Where's the bread?
In the fridge?
What would it be in the fridge?
Sorry about that. Well, I have a real panic for you farmers out there tuning in. Crops prices for about any food or resources are falling faster than a rummy during an earthquake. But don't go throw your dreams off being a sugar daddy away just yet. It's the fall of 1929, and you still have time to make some dough. This here is what you have to do. Buy stocks. Lots and lots of stocks. This plan is foolproof. It's so easy to make some clans on this that even a dumb Dora couldn't ball this up. Go on and make some simoleons. It's not like the stock market is going to crash tomorrow. Ha! Now it's time for a commercial break from our sponsor. Stock market crashing? Ha! What a load of baloney.
Hello, are you tired of your everyday boring sandwiches? Well, why don't you try peanut butter and jelly? Both nutritious and tasty. Buy any jar of peanut butter and any jar of jelly. Smack it on the bread, and what do you have? A delicious peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Sounds tasty. Scrumptious.
Brum, brum, brum. Wow. That was Dough Farmer Bob. This is Egghead Jake. Now we're back with some sports. I'm just going to recap on some of the most memorable events of the decade on the world of sports. In 1920, Big Bill was the first American to win the Wimbledon. In 1921, we had the Battle of the Century with our champ, Jake Dempsey, knocking out Europe's champ, George Carpenter. You probably heard of skiing on snow, but in 1922, we got water skiing. Finally, we had Babe Ruth. He ended up getting the record for most home runs in a season in 1927. Now for some news on criminals.
You heard of Al Capone, but today I'm going to talk to you about two other crime bosses of this decade. Lucky Luciano was a real bimbo. As a kid against the law, his game was bootlegging and the business of Jack for Janes. He got his nickname Lucky by getting beat up badly, slashed across the face, thrown in a river, being left for dead, and surviving it all. There was also Al Capone's rival, Bugs Moran. He is well known for his horse stealing, bootlegging, and illegal dog races. Along with Scarface, Bugs Moran had a 4-inch scar on his neck and a bent middle finger. Also, this baby gran loves to smoke so much it looks like his ciggies will kill him before any torpedo does. Now for a break with this nice song.
Hey everybody, did the news get around about a guy named Butcher Pete? Old Pete just flew into this town and he's chopping up all the women's meat. He's hacking and whacking and smacking. He's hacking and whacking and smacking. He's hacking and whacking and smacking. He just hack, whack, chopping that meat. Butcher Pete's got a long, sharp knife. He starts chopping and don't know when to stop. All you fellas better watch your wives, 'cause Pete don't care whose meat he chops. He's hacking and whacking and smacking. He's hacking and whacking and smacking. He's hacking and whacking and smacking. Hey, no. Hack, whack, chopping that meat. Ever since Pete flew into town, he's been having a ball, just cutting into
Name of that tune was Butcher Pete, but now for some tips for some fashion. If you want to be in style, ladies, this is the time to be a smarty. Short skirts and pearls are the way to go. And for your hair, cut it short and wear it under a hat, because it's like what my grandma said. A hat on the flapper's head lets her stay out until she's dead. For you fellas out there that are listening, want to be the daddios of the block, big pants, slouch hats, and white linen is the way to go. It's like what my grandma tells me. In order to get the dame of your dreams, looking like her prince gets you one step closer to being her king. Well, actually, she told me, you come home with hooch or you don't come home at all. But I always knew what she meant. Today in our Hollywood news, Mickey Mouse comes out with his very first sound cartoon, named Steamboat Willie. What does the boxer Jack Dempsey and the comedian Charlie Chaplin have in common? They are reported to share the same apartment for a while. And also, there's a self-proclaimed King of the Flappers. Well, here's a hint. He wrote The Great Gatsby himself. That's right, you guessed it, Fitzgerald. This concludes our Hollywood news segment for today.
We are now at the point of our radio broadcast where we would like to sit back and play a game with one of you lucky listeners out there. I have in the studio with me today a young fellow named Tom. Tom, what I'm going to have you do for me today is just give me five nicknames of the famous Babe Ruth. I will give you 20 seconds to do this for me. Ready? Go.
The Salt and the Sweat, the Colossus of Clout, is that one? Yeah, I think that's one. The Babe, yeah, that's definitely one. The Great Bambino, I think that's one for sure. And let's say the Raja of Rap. I think that's 5. Is that 5?
Congratulations, Tim. Those are all correct. You also could have said the Terrible Titan, Lord of Crash, Jovial Giant, or even the Home Run King. Any of those work. But congratulations, you've won. Now I know all you folks at home are saying, yeah, there's a lot more than that. But if I took time to list every single name that he had, I'm pretty sure we'd be into the next year already. Enough about sports. Let's get on to this decade's greatest hits in music.
Speaking of great hits, we have Louis Armstrong, the trumpet-playing ambassador of jazz. After he had performed with Fletcher Henderson, it seems the sky was the limit. He got his own band started and everything, called the All-Stars. Then there was the amazing singers, like the Empress of the Blues herself, Bessie Smith. Now don't think that there were only black musicians that performed jazz, because we also had a fella by the name of Bix Beiderbecke. Bix was actually the first white fella to help add to the sound of jazz. Jazz is so great that it even affected some forms of orchestra.
We're almost at the highlight of our radio broadcast, but now for some of the great literature of this decade. We had some interesting reads, nothing like in the past. This is an all-new style of writing on its own. We had the story of the Great Gatsby depicting to us this decade of flappers and bootleggers. We had the Age of Innocence at the beginning of this decade, where a rich man was not allowed to marry love due to different social statuses. There was finally the story of a love that ends in flames, in Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. Wow, aren't these stories something to tell you kids before they get to bed? Well, now it's time for a commercial break, but don't touch that dial, folks, because up next is Who's On First?
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you. No other will do.
And now we're back with WWDU with Who's On First.
Nicknames. On the St. Louis team, we have Who's On First, What's On Second, I Don't Know Who's On Third.
That's what I want to find out. I want you to tell me the names of the fellows on the St. Louis team.
I'm telling you, Who's On First, What's On Second, I Don't Know Who's On Third.
You know the fellows' names?
Yes.
Well then, who's playing first?
Yes.
I mean the fellow's name on first base.
Who?
The fellow playing first base.
Who?
The guy on first base.
Who is on first?
Well, what are you asking me for?
I'm not asking you, I'm telling you who is on first.
I'm asking you who's on first.
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
When you pay off the first baseman every month, who gets the money?
Every dollar of it, and why not? The man's entitled to it.
Who is?
Yes.
So who gets it?
Why shouldn't he? Sometimes his wife comes down and collects it.
Whose wife?
Yes, after all, the man earns it.
Who does?
Absolutely.
Well, all I'm trying to find out is what this guy's name is on first base.
Oh, no. What is on second base?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
No, who's on first?
St. Louis has a good outfield.
Oh, absolutely.
The left fielder's name?
Why?
I don't know, I just thought I'd ask.
Well, I just thought I'd tell you.
Then tell me who's playing left field.
Who's playing first?
Stay out of the infield, the left fielder's name.
Why?
Because...
Oh, he's center field.
Wait a minute, you got a pitcher on this team?
Wouldn't this be a fine team without a pitcher?
Tell me the pitcher's name.
Tomorrow.
Now, when the guy at bat bunts the ball, me being a good catcher and all, I want to throw the guy out at first base. So I pick up the ball and throw it to who?
Now that's the first thing you said right.
I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Don't get excited. Take it easy.
I throw the ball to first base. Whoever grabs the ball, so the guy runs to second, who picks up the ball and throws it to what? What throws it to, I don't know, throws it back to tomorrow. A triple play.
Yeah, it could be.
Another guy gets up and it's a long ball to the center.
Because?
Why? I don't know and I don't care.
What was that?
I said I don't care.
Oh, that's our shortstop.
Well, folks, that's all for our broadcast today. We'll see y'all tomorrow, October 29th, for more news and music.